In this video, I will explain how I converted this image into that digital painting art using Photoshop. After following the tutorial, you'll be able to create your own PSD file, and you'll be able to use it to convert your own images to the same effect with just a single click. Let's open Photoshop and see how to do it. First, I will open this image to explain what we're going to do. This is one of Van Gogh's paintings, one of the best impressionists of all time. And if I zoom in, I will find that his painting is made of small and tiny brushstrokes like this. And our today's job is to make the same effect in Photoshop, with just one click. Let's close this, and start by creating a new document from here. Just set width to 2000 pixels, height to 3000, with RGB 8-bit color mode, then click Create. Now let's go to File, Place Embedded. Select this image and click Place. You can download all tutorial files from the video description below. Make sure that your image is a smart object. Then, let's open the filter gallery. Inside the artistic folder, pick the sponge filter. Drag all sliders to their minimum values. And this should apply a texture to your image and wrinkles its edges like that. Since we're working with a smart object, all filters will be applied as a smart filter like that. If I disabled the filter, I can clearly see that the sponge filter has changed my image brightness a little bit. And to fix that, I will apply a levels adjustment from here. For your information, most adjustments can be applied as smart filters, starting from Photoshop CC 2015. After applying levels, drag both shadows and highlight sliders to 20 and 225. This way your image brightness should be fixed. Let's now go to Filter, Stylize, and choose the Oil Paint filter. Change both stylization and cleanliness to 8. If your oil paint filter is missing or disabled, please check the video description to fix it. Now check lighting. Use any angle and change shine to 5. Using lighting will add light to the oil paint strokes and give it depth like that. And by increasing the size, the painting strokes will become larger. Also, let's set bristle details to 2 to add these thin lines inside the large strokes. And that's a pretty good result. Now let's open the surface blur filter. Change it to 15 and 7, and this should add some blurriness to the final result. Let's open the filter gallery again. But this time, inside the artistic folder, choose the dry brush filter. Change it to 10, 10, and 1. This should convert the previously made oil painting strokes to brush strokes exactly like this. If you zoom in, you'll see that the resulting brush strokes have 2 sharp edges. And to fix that, I will apply the oil paint filter, but this time with very small values. Let's uncheck lighting and then set stylization and cleanliness to 1. And since lighting is unchecked, both scale and details will become inactive, so leave them at any value and click OK. So the result now is smooth and the sharpness has gone away. I'll finally need to add some sharpness to the final result, so I'm gonna open the Unsharp Mask filter from here. Set it to 100, 1, and 0. And here is the result. Now before moving to the next step, let's hear from our today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by Wondershare Media Tool, a free online tool to convert, edit, and compress your media files. After signing up, your dashboard should be something like that. Let's start with this video recorder, a free tool to record your screen online without any software. After recording, you can edit the output video using their online video editor. And generate your own audio using this text-to-speech tool. Just choose the language, write whatever you want, select the voice type, then click Generate. And much more tools, such as Auto Subtitle, Watercolor Remover, Noise Reduction, Background Remover, and more. And even more than 100 separate tools that you can check from the link in the description below. Now let's get back to our tutorial. In this step, we will add some depth to our previous result. Let's first right-click our layer and convert it to a smart object. Then rename it Base. Duplicate it with Ctrl and J, and hide the base layer. Double-click the duplicated layer to open its layer style. And under the Blend If section, drag the shadow slider to 160 to hide the dark pixels. If we zoom in, we'll find that the result is too sharp. And to smooth it, you can simply hold the Alt key and click on the slider to split it. Also split the other slider the same way, and this should smooth our selection. Now click OK, and with a layer selected, press Ctrl and G to add it inside a group. Double-click the group to open its layer style. Select Bevel and Emboss, and let's reset it to its defaults so that we start from the same point. Just increase the depth to 200% and size to 1 pixel. And decrease both highlights and shadows opacities to 30 and 20%. Click OK, and let's collapse the group. So what we did right here, we'll add a 1 pixel depth to our selected areas. Now let's duplicate the group with Ctrl and J. Then double-click the layer inside it to open its layer style. I'll move the shadow slider back to 0, then move the highlight slider to 80. This should select the shadows areas beside the previously selected highlights. And since our selection is sharp, let's split both sliders by holding the Alt key as before. Let's collapse the group and unhide the base layer. This will add a 1 pixel depth to both shadows and highlights painting strokes. Finally, duplicate the base layer with Ctrl and J and move it to the top. While your layer is selected, apply the Emboss filter to it from the Stylize menu. Change its values to 135, 2, and 500. This will create a grey 3D depth map out of the layer. But there are some colours that I need to get rid of. And since Desaturate can't be applied as a smart filter, let's apply Hue and Saturation and drag the Saturation slider all the way to 0. And here is the grey map. Now let's change the layer's blending mode to Overlay. Group this layer with Ctrl and G, and start renaming your groups as you want. And don't forget to decrease the top one's opacity to 50%. Let's finally duplicate the base layer and move it to the top. This time I will add a levels layer and move both shadows and highlight sliders all the way to the middle like that. This should generate an extra layer of contrasting colors. Just group both layers with Ctrl and G, then change the group blending mode to any of these 3 modes. I will go with a color blending mode right now and decrease the group opacity to a reasonable value. This should generate colorful strokes just like that. Now I got a colorful and embossed painting strokes that can be controlled by just changing the blending mode or the level sliders. Look how detailed and amazing this is. Let's move on to the final step, to redo all this on any new image with a click. To change this existing image with a new one, simply double-click on the Smart Object thumbnail to open it. Once you're inside the Smart Object, import your new image from here. Resize it as you like, then press Enter. Drag the Smart Filters and drop them on the new imported layer to move them there. Press Ctrl and S to update the Smart Object, then close the Smart Object and get back to the main document. And here is the result. If you want to control the stroke's heaviness, just open the Smart Object again, and then double-click on the Oil Paint filter to open it. And reduce the lighting shine by half. Press Ctrl and S and get back to your main document. This will increase the stroke's width and make them less embossed. And that's how you can control the final result details. Let's have another quick example. I will import the object I want from here. Then I will import one of Van Gogh's paintings as a background. Then I will isolate the subject using the Select Subject button. Convert both layers to a smart object. Drag the filters on that new smart object. And finally, press Ctrl and S and get back to our main document. And that's it for today. I recommend you to watch this tutorial next. It has some cool tricks that will teach you on how to create 3 different art styles with just one single tool. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.